I think it's time for us to move on to the start of the NBA. We've had some movement, but wait. There's more. Wait.
Overrated, overhyped superstar in my history in this business.
Who? LeBron? I'm sorry, what?
Do you have a Skip Bayless like soundboard?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
It's certainly not winning an
Really?
NBA World Championship.
That's strange.
Not only is this series
Really, Stephen A. That's interesting.
How do you spell the name of Oklahoma City's star? U-R-A-N-T.
Right.
You got to get rid of the D because Oklahoma City doesn't play.
They didn't.
That. You got to get rid of the U because he plays for Miami. He doesn't
Right.
play for Oklahoma City. So what does that leave you? That leaves you with Rant.
Right.
What is that? R-A-N-T. What is that? Rant. Give it to me! Yeah! Give it to me! Yeah! Give it to me! Again! Yeah! What's Miami trying to build?
Wait, one time.
Right now! Tell us how our ass to his taste!
All right. If you're not aware, I am a huge Miami Heat fan. We have the chip. We are the most dominant NBA team in the history of NBA basketball. That's just my opinion. But let's talk seriously, though. I had to play that. I just have to. Right now, Miami's the favorite, but clearly the story is the Lakers out west with Dwight Howard, Sands, Joel, and Mule. What do you guys think about the Lakers, Howard, and what's happening in the NBA in terms of the changing of players and everything? Joe?
Well, I think the Lakers are really interesting as a team because everybody looks at them and they think they've got all-stars at almost every position, but they've got some old all-stars at different positions. I mean, I don't know that Nash is going to be the full-time starter there. The question is how many games does he start for them, and how much does he play in those games? If Nash starts the majority of the games there and plays the majority of the minutes and is doing a good job, they will be really hard to beat. But at some point, Kobe's skills are going to start declining. They've already started declining. His clutch numbers aren't as good as they used to be. To me, what's really interesting about that team is they almost immediately become Dwight Howard's team. And this is a referendum on Howard. He's looked good in the game that he played so far, in spite of the fact the Lakers haven't won a single game in preseason. But I'm real hesitant about thinking that preseason means anything. I'm fascinated. I think the West is fascinating. You've got Oklahoma City, which still seems to be kind of on the come, but can't figure out how to play defense and doesn't have much of a low post presence. And then you've got the Lakers, who do play really good defense, have a big low post percentage, but I'm not sure if they can run with Oklahoma at all. So, and that's just two teams in the West. I think it's really interesting. I think the Heat have a much clearer path in the East, but they're incredibly vulnerable to injury. So we'll see what happens. You've got to think the Heat are the favorites until someone proves otherwise. But the West is really, really interesting, and I don't think anyone else in the East is really going to challenge the Heat very much.
Quick point on the Lakers. I think that and no one else is playing any defense other than Dwight Howard. You still have to guard out on the wings. I don't really trust Gasol. And with that, I don't think that they're necessarily going to be able to score the points that everybody else thinks they're going to do, unless it becomes Dwight Howard's team and Kobe has to, actually have shot selection, actually not try to take it all every time he gets the ball. The thing that you didn't mention, Bellon, that I thought was interesting about the West is the Spurs.
Yep.
I remember being on that bandwagon last year when they won, 20 games in a row, and they were looking like they were going to take it to the Thunder. This team retooled with young players. They made sure that their big three didn't have to take a whole lot of minutes, and then they were able to win games and score a lot of points. Weren't they up there in points on the season?
Yeah, no, they were one of the highest scoring teams in the league.
And so, I don't know. That's super interesting for me. I don't know about the point about the Heat being injury prone. I don't know if I can believe that as much. They proved last year that without Bosh, they can still do it. At other points, they proved that without Dwayne Wade, they can still do it. Basketball is a five-man game, and really by the end of it, there's only one ball. And as long as you can give that ball to LeBron James, I think the Heat have a decent chance at the championship.
My thing about, I think, the NBA season, listen, I think the Lakers are overrated. I think Dwight Howard is overrated. I don't This reminds me of when the Lakers put together that Hall of Fame team of Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Shaq, and Kobe Bryant. And everybody thought that team was going to win like 75 games. And they got housed by the Detroit Pistons because the Pistons were a better team. The Heat clearly can ill afford to sustain an injury, especially to LeBron, because saying him, that team's like a third seed in the East. But as currently constructed, I don't see anybody competing with them. Maybe Boston, maybe the Nets because of the influx of talent. You've got Williams, you've got Joe Johnson, who's now the number 2. That team may be able to run a little
Well,
bit.
live in Atlanta, you know not to trust Joe Johnson.
Listen. I didn't say Joe Johnson by himself. I said there was a legitimate player in Baron Williams that can probably facilitate. But I'm not saying they're going to beat the Heat. Listen, a lot of people think that when Rose comes back, yes, he's done very nice commercials of him winking and high-fiving the fans. What you don't see is he's walking on a treadmill when that commercial's coming on. Look, the OKC is not going anywhere. Dwight Howard has had all kinds of fits with what's the center for Oklahoma City? Perkins. Mm-hmm. Listen, those two teams right now I think are clearly head and shoulders above the rest. And Sean hit it right on the head. You can't have a team of Steve Nash, Pau Gasol, and Antoine Jameson as part of your starting rotation and expect you can defend on the perimeter and Bosch can get to everything. I'm sorry, Howard can get to everything. So it's still the Heat's to lose. Look, the Heat can trot out a lineup of LeBron, Wade, Bosch, and Ray Allen out there shooting threes with, I'm assuming, Chalmers, I guess, at point, or they may want to bring Rashad Lewis off the bench. Like, they have shooters. This Miami team is what we're going to think Miami should have been when they first got constructed. I think Miami is going to be very dominant. Joe believes that the Atlanta Hawks are going to be the 4 seed, so we'll let him finish.
6.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that above the Knicks?
Oh, I don't know about the Knicks.
Okay.
I don't know about the Knicks. The Knicks are a crapshoot to me. Look, let me just insert. Let me channel Joel Lemuel for just a second.
Okay.
Here's what he would say if he were here with us. He would say, and he has said publicly, that the reason that the Lakers are so dangerous to the Heat is that Dwight Howard historically is what Joel describes as LeBron James kryptonite, and Howard represents the thing that the Heat don't have, which is a serious presence down on the boards, and there's essentially no one on the Heat that can guard him. And when you combine that with Kobe shooting even, as well as he did last year, let alone, Kobe of old, and Gasol being able to not have to be the guy down low and going out to a more natural spot for him on the baseline, on the perimeter, then that's a team that, while it's not going to run with the Heat, can defend well enough to keep the Heat from running and really lock down the half-court game and almost play delay and beat the Heat that way.
Are we saying the same Dwight Howard, whose Orlando Magic got housed by the Atlanta Hawks while he's being guarded by Jason Collins?
Yeah,
are we referring to
that's an irrelevant argument, though. Like, matchups make fights, and Dwight didn't match up well with us in the same way that the Celtics didn't match up well with us for a bunch of times. That doesn't mean the Hawks were good. That doesn't mean the Celtics were bad. It's just a matchup situation. The people that are Lakers fans will say that the Lakers match up really, really well against the Heat because they are strong in areas that the Heat are weak. I don't know that I agree with that, but I think if you're going to say that the Heat beat the Lakers if the Lakers make it out of the West, you have to at least consider that argument.
No, I mean, I respect that argument, but I think the inverse of that is also true. I don't know who Dwight Howard is going to guard if Bosch takes the ball out to the three-point line. I don't like the fact that they're pretty much giving LeBron James a pass on defense if he gets to guard Gasol out there on the three-point line also. I think that if you're going to beat the Heat, you have to make them work on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, who guards LeBron? Is it Gasol? That seems like a recipe for disaster.
It's Meta World Peace Star Test Man. Like,
oh, geez, no. Well, if they put
Hold on. Y'all have dropped out. The last thing I heard was Antoine Jameson guarding LeBron.
That's probably why I dropped out. I think Skype was like, that's absurd. and it ended the conversation.
No way that's possible.
I mean, have you ever played defense ever?
No.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Oh. I'm actually excited for the NBA. I haven't been this excited for the NBA in a while. I think there's a bunch of intriguing storylines. there's even intriguing storylines in the West. The Nets are kind of an intriguing storyline. What happens to Dwight Howard after this year is an intriguing storyline. There's a lot of stuff going on at the West. You're right. The Spurs are an interesting team. I really thought they were going to get. I thought they weren't getting nearly as much respect as they should have at the end of the year last year. But then, if you listen to Popovich's speech at the end of the series they lost, I think he was right that they overachieved. But his teams do that, and so. There's a lot of really great storylines in the NBA for me. I'm much more interested in it this year than I have been recently.
Anybody buying into the Clipper talk that the Clippers are going to make a run at the NBA title or the NBA Finals?
I mean,
anybody buying that?
They're a decent team, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, the West isn't super. Well, no, the West is deep with those top three teams, but I think on any given night, the Clippers have enough young talent, athleticism, and just like Wake Forest. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Chris Paul is going to work somebody. You saw that before when he was playing for the Hornets against those Lakers. I mean, like, he's able to run the pick and roll, and at any given night, he can lob the ball to Blake Griffin. It makes for an interesting matchup. I don't know who they're playing any defense with, but they can score points with the best of them.
Listen, man, look, if you get Marvin Williams, you don't need Chris Paul.
Dude, I actually read an article the other day about how Marvin Williams has experienced a career renewal where, and that he's now going to be a great player. I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, my ass. Is anybody buying the talk that the Hawks could conceivably bring in Chris Paul and Dwight Howard next year? Does anybody see that?
Why would they go to the Hawks?
Where did that talk come from?
That's Atlanta talk. That's Atlanta talk. Broussard said that?
Yes, Broussard has an entire article because of the fact that the Hawks have so much expiring contracts. They can sign two max guys to go with Josh and Al Horford. That is insanity if, like a workout tape, if I've ever heard it. But does either one of you buy that the Hawks can do that, or will the Hawks pull another Joe Johnson to give a max contract to, like, Harden?
The Hawks don't have owners. It's hard for me to imagine that a superstar comes to Atlanta believing that the structure exists there to take them to a championship when we don't have owners. Yeah, and we have no history of being the kind of franchise in the last 10 years at the very least that can win an NBA championship. Admittedly, Atlanta's a great town if you're an NBA superstar, but I just can't. That's insane to me. That's insane talk.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see him doing it. Yeah, I don't even need to say any more than that.
No, I think that's a 3-0 for the Hawks not getting one.